Hey, this is Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things. It is finally time for my first Winter is Coming Wednesday installment. I plan to do these each Wednesday until, let's say, December 16th or so. Can't remember the exact date. I will focus on holiday cards for Thanksgiving, Christmas, possibly New Year's, and not Halloween. I've created 2 cards. These cards were actually created with the same end goal look in mind. They are 2 different ways of creating what's called Joseph's Coat of Many Colors, and you can look that up on Pinterest and find all sorts of instructions on how to do this. I'm going to illustrate 2 techniques. So this is just illustrating the technique itself, not the making of the cards, and then I'll do a quick walkthrough of each card. My cards tend to be more on the fancy side, and I'm not sure if any of these will be simple cards. I might feel inclined to do a couple of beginning stamper card ideas. But for the most part, I do want to be making these for my own card giving for the holidays, so I will probably be making mostly fancy cards. Alright, so Snowflake Wishes is the first set for the 1 card, and the next card is a Thanksgiving card using Gather Together. I've already mocked up the beginning pieces. One technique is very messy and one technique is very clean. So I just now realized I forgot to grab my blends, so I'm gonna pause for a second and I'll be right back with the blends for the clean technique. Alright, I am back. I've got my 4 blends picked out. These were just the colors that we picked out to use on Sunday, so I'm just going to use them again, but you could pick any colors you wanted. So, for the coat of many colors, the idea is that your image has color. It's the color, and it's on some sort of a dark base. So in this case I have a white. It is a heat embossed leaf and on brown early espresso, and I will be coloring it. In this case, the background has been sponged using 3 colors. Sorry, we're shaking. That's me moving. And I have clear embossed snowflakes. So these were the 2 images that I used from each of the sets, the large snowflake and the leaf. I'm going to show the messy technique first. The tools you'll need is some sort of a brayer sponge to roll on. You're going to be covering the entire area with your dark color of whatever you choose. You need a paper towel and some sort of surface to put re-inker liquid on, or you can brayer directly on a full-size pad. Because I use the spots, I need to go ahead and use re-inker, or it would take forever for me to get enough ink using the spots, so they're just not worth it. So any sort of plastic. I have a craft mat as well, but I'm not even going to bother with that. I just grabbed a piece of plastic here nearby. I am going to grab a piece of folded paper that I don't mind getting all inky. I'm going to apply some ink. This is probably too much ink, by the way, for the small size that I'm working with. And I'm going to keep coloring until it's the color I want, as dark as I want, as light as I want. What I like about this technique is it's messy and it ends up looking kind of shabby chic, streaky. And I like this look a lot. You can even leave it more streaky than what I have done. Now, and then I did the snowflakes 2 different ways. I want to show you the difference in how they look. Alright, so I am happy with that. You can see that the color shows through. That's the technique that you want, but you can also clean off the embossing to have the color show through even more. Or not, you can leave it. that is technique 1, and I'm going to show you the 2 different snowflakes up close. So this snowflake right here, I did not use an embossing buddy, and when you sponge on the entire background, it takes a while for it to dry. So if you leave it wet, you will end up with a really nice, spotty, shabby chic kind of a rustic look. And then on this side, I went ahead and applied the embossing buddy first, so I did not get any leftover little clear splotches at all. So it just really depends on what look you're after and what you like. These 3 colors for reference is, I used a sponge that had some other color on it of green, and then applied Coastal Cabana over the top, Highland Heather, and Balmy Blue. Technique 2, very clean, very simple. You can pick any of the blends colors you want, and all you do is carefully apply ink to the embossed surface. Now, I have heard rumor, though I have not experienced it myself, that if you apply the ink too heavy, too hard, too much pressure, I guess would be the way to say it, that you end up with the embossing ink moving or coming off, and I have not found that in my case. So I do recommend that you use a very light hand, and I think Libby tested the Many Marvelous markers, and those are a dye ink, and they do not adhere to the embossing powder or the heat embossed surface. They just wipe right off. So don't even bother trying to use dye inks. You need to use alcohol markers of some variety. Now, I will tell you that I have Copic markers and I have blends. Blends do not smell at all. Copics smell. So they're a stronger formula, and it could be that this stronger formula of the Copics is what makes the heat embossed surface move in a way that you don't want it to, but I have not found the blends to do that at all. So anyhow, very light pressure, applying my colors. This ends up, when you're all done, with a very shiny, you can leave as much white as you want. I did my card, you'll see I was not very careful at all, and it ended up having quite a bit of the white, and it still looks great. So this is a very quick and easy technique, I find, versus the other technique. Now this color is the light, and I'm not finding that it is dark enough, so I must have used the dark. So I'm just grabbing my dark. I'm using the bullet nib, by the way, but you could also use the brush nib, but again, you need to be really careful. You may or may not see the ink on the brown. It does dry. It's alcohol, so it will dry pretty quickly. You can also add color on color if you want. It doesn't hurt. These nibs you can wipe off. Alcohol doesn't stain the nib, so you can feel free to add, you know, like I could go ahead and put yellow over the red and end up with like an orange, and it's not going to hurt anything. All right, so that is the second technique. Now let's find the first technique. I don't know where I said it. There it is. So here's the 2 different techniques to get a dark background with multicolored using embossing. And in this case I'm using blends, and in this case I'm just using dye ink sponged onto a white cardstock. All right, now let's unveil the cards. Here is the snowflake card. This is a 1.5 inch webbing, kind of a silver and clear thin, glimmery new trim that I really like. These blue gemstones are the new kind of a cushion cut that actually goes with the snowflake. I bought the whole suite. The balmy blue glimmer paper is also part of the suite. And the dies, these are the snowflake dies. I have, sorry, Hub is moving now. He went back outside. The joy of living in a very small space, sharing it with another person. And then I had this as a sponged with the same treatment, but the dark was just too dark and I couldn't get it to show up right, so I restamped it on the white. This trim is a trim that I will put, it's a combo pack of 2 trims, and I will put all of these supplies on my blog for you to peruse and decide what you would like to do for the holidays. I really like this Joseph's coat technique a lot. And then the next one I made into a Thanksgiving card, and it uses the gathered together set. I have some vellum, and behind the vellum there's a new gold trim. This gold trim is in the annual catalog. I'm using all of the pattern DSP colors for the Real Red, Granny Apple Green, pumpkin pie, and then I didn't use yellow on this. Now what's funny is my mom took one look at this and thought the red did not fit a fall card, but I'm totally fine with red in a fall card. And then here's the way the leaves look. I have not gone back in. I thought that I would want to go back in and get rid of all of the white, but actually I like the white and I like the shiny surface, and this just looks like a really fun card. Oh, and the gold faceted gems, those are new in the mini holiday catalog. And the gold, little gold scallops is the metallic cardstock. You can't see it, it has a texture across it and giving it kind of a brushed metallic look, and you can't see it because it's behind. I will do other projects with it though. So those are my first 2 Winter is Coming Wednesday projects. And I hope to be back next week with another video. I will be videoing as much as possible. We have some traveling plans. We're staying in Washington State this winter, but we are going to be traveling to stay at the ocean this fall, and I'm not sure how good the internet will be, but it is my goal to do as many videos as I can for each of these Wednesdays. And I hope that you find this inspiring to get prepared for Christmas a little earlier, or Thanksgiving a little bit earlier, since we are still in July. And thanks for watching.